And then now the central part is where we have people want to play, they don't want to be in class. Because the other side we have, the other side we have here. But you have said PE. Eh? You are lying. All right, those who are there, let's proceed to discuss chapter 10. Was it chapter 10 or 11? We already discussed chapter. We already discussed chapter 10. It's supposed to be chapter 11, right? Yeah, so chapter 11. Yesterday we just read. Can we now talk about it? Beginning on page 141. Page 141, what do we get in this? Anyone with an idea? Yeah. You will hold it like this. You know, it's not really. You face the person speaking.
Pastor Chiamaka to the president as he had planned.
Okay, continue.
Pastor Chiamaka went to the president as he had planned.
Went to the
President.
Did he manage to go?
No.
What are they telling us? Anyone who can tell us? Show her to continue.
There was a small dinner that was arranged at the Pinnacle Hotel, but it was cancelled so that he did not have the chance to meet the president.
Yeah, the presidents, how many presidents? 50, right?
Yes.
Including the host, was supposed to have a dinner at the Pinnacle Hotel. However, it was cancelled. So Pastor Chiamaka, who had planned to actually go and meet his president from Nigeria, did not make it. Because now that it's not there, he would not go there. Yeah? But he had managed to overcome the security clearances that were there. Now, what had he planned to do? What was his plan if he goes to the president and meets his president? What did he plan to do?
He would have patiently wormed his way through the melee of bowers and kneelers until he got to his president. Patience was crucial.
He could be patient.
Once he was within reach of his president, Pastor Chiamaka would have extended a hand to shake his president. A law of nature would then have intervened. To every action, there is a reaction. Upon seeing him extend his hand in greeting, the president will have reacted by extending his own to accept the greeting. Pastor Chiamaka would then have shaken the president's hand and kept shaking it until the man got tired.
Then he would have asked him whether he's going to support the debate at the summit, right?
Yes.
Whether he could say A or nay to the Omega consideration. What else was he going to do apart from asking him whether he was going to support Way Omega or not? I'll show it to him. There are people who are speaking more slowly.
He will have sneaked in the real steamer.
He would have
He will have sneaked in the real steamer.
and then said what?
You think I know you, Mr. President, don't you?
Yeah, so he would humiliate the president. Then he immediately receives a phone, right? And what does he have as a message? Yes?
It was Dr. Afolabi who was calling him to inform him about the meeting which will be held.
So we have Dr. Afolabi, the guide, calls them and begins with Pastor Chamaka, indicating that there is a meeting they are going to have in 2059, Center Wing, and they would actually meet in Simon Hotel. Whose room is that? At Longway's room. So they were supposed to meet there after a short notice. Who is the next to be called with the same message? Yes. Then we have Comrade Melusi Ben. Now, I want you to look at the description that is given to Professor Kimani. Out of the four, I think that description is just too much. We are told that he was what? We are told that Kimani was what?
Brushing his teeth.
Brushing teeth is a description of someone. One person, yes? Yes?
That his belly hung over his belt like half empty sack. Blue. It was blue. Then his face had wrinkles like dry prune. Two folds of his skin ran on the left and right side of his nose down to the left and right corners of his mouth. The flesh under his chin hung and shook as he was getting in.
Why did the author describe Kimani like that? Or what was he trying to show us about Kimani? That he was old? That's right. Was he trying to approve the fact that Asia walked away from him? Was he trying maybe also to show that he had gone through a lot of difficulties that had messed up his life? Remember I told you they said Kimani last year. Exam, they told students to write an essay proving how the government had done injustices to Kimani and made him suffer. And I don't think students even remember this, but the fact that even his appearance proves, for someone to be loose everywhere, what does that mean? Because you can be old, not necessarily loose. Museveni is old, is he loose? Why not? Because he has money. You can also have money, but I don't know how many of you know Ambwere. Ambwere that has constructed a building in Kitale. There is another in Vihiga. You know Ambwere? Yes. How big is he? And is he healthy? He is obese. And so many other people who have money there also have health issues. So what is his problem? Is it only money? Yes? So there is something about money and there is something about health care. You take care of yourself health-wise. Because if you keep eating, you don't exercise, you sleep too much, you don't want to walk. Every time you get somewhere, you get into a vehicle from the door and you come back at the door. You will not be healthy. And again, if you have also a lot of problems that you have absorbed, then again you will look frustrated. You will look like all your body will be just loose. So that's exactly, they are trying to tell us something here. Now they also told us something about Tahir, they didn't tell us that much. Then they went to the next character. Now they told us the meeting. What happened in the meeting on page 146, 147? Yes.
Dr. Afolabi revealed himself the four people that were communicating with him.
Dr. Afolabi has been hiding his identity 2 days ago, now reveals his identity. Now, and most of them are surprised, right? Yes. They don't really agree that he was the one. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Longway started introducing himself. Mr. Longway started introducing other people, the four visitors.
Yeah, so remember the Agda. Who is Tad Longway in relation to Agda? He is the what? The director of Agda. So he is the one who connected to each one of them. He's the one who met first. He met Karanja, then followed by Melusi, then Chamaka, then Tahir. But after meeting all of them, then he met Afolabi when he was coming from Boston. So he realizes that it is crucial for them to meet before the presidents meet for the debate. And he introduces all of them, then lets Dr. Afolabi speak. So the entire discussion actually comes out. Now, what does Longway ask? Not Longway, but what does Longway explain as the reasons why these four people must support or actually be behind Part Alpha? What are the reasons? Yeah.
They are here because we see that Africa has problems whose solution is present heads of state and simply not Africa.
Yeah, so Africa has a lot of problems, and those solutions to those problems are not being given by the heads of state. Look at Uganda, for example. I told you Museveni has been there for 40 years, and is going to rule for 5 more years. In Cameroon, we have a president who has also ruled for over 40 years, and he's going on. We also have another country, which was it? We have about 3 countries which they elected. They were forced to elect, because now when there is rigging, the citizens don't have control of the votes.
Tanzania.
Away from Tanzania. Tanzania, you know, it's just a fact that that lady inherited leadership and she wants to maintain. But now we have countries where the leaders have led for over 40 years. There is another, away from Cameroon. I've just forgot. So when you look at those countries, they have problems such as leadership. And the leaders cannot offer them the solution because the leaders feel like they should be there forever. Other problems is like corruption. Do you think we have any leader who is ready to solve for us corruption? No. It is the one that maintains them in power, so they cannot solve it. We have the problem of, which other problem did Longway mention in the text? Apart from corruption, yes, security was mentioned by Kimani. But I'm talking about Third Longway. When he approached Karanja Kimani, he said we have 4 problems in Africa. One of them is corruption. Another one that hides corruption is what? You don't remember? I want you to look back on page what? Unit 3. When he needs, that is on page 40, around 40, 41. He said that the first problem that Africa has faced is poverty. Can any leader help you come out of poverty? In fact, they are happy when we have a lot of poor people, because when you are poor, you can easily select people to go back. You know, poverty makes people to only queue. You queue for 50 shillings and you vote for whoever they want. You've seen that trend, right?
Yes.
Election is coming in 2027, and I'm sure some people are not going to vote for leaders. They are going to vote for sugar. They are going to vote for rice. They are going to vote for Mbolea, Leso, 50 bob, t-shirt. So all along, poverty makes you to vote in a very ignorant way. Number two, we have ignorance. How many of you, have asked you many times, how many of you know politics of Kenya correctly? Like you have details very well about Uhuru, the first Kenyatta family, even Moi family. You have details about now the second Uhuru that came. You have details about Kibaki's family. You have details about now the current President Ruto. What he has done that is good, what he has done that is bad. The things that he tells us that are true, things that he tells us that are a lie, about the Raila family, about Murkomen. How many of you know? Do you know? No. No, you don't. You only rely on rumors. So rumors comes whereby if our president wants to win, now he picks people all over the country and they come and tell us our president is very good. You see, even in this school, he's the one who made that gate, who painted the gate. Even the road that you are passing by, he's the one who did it. So you follow only that. By the way, most times people follow the information that someone comes from somewhere and tells you. You don't vote based on what you know. You know? Then there is diseases. How many leaders will want to solve diseases, whether it's HIV, AIDS, marasmus, malaria from our families? How many leaders? None. Maybe, I don't know, if you have looked at Nigeria, for example, which disease kills a lot of Nigerians? Which disease kills a lot of Nigerians? Which disease kills a lot of Somalis? No, that is the problem. Anyway, diseases is our third problem. Then the fourth problem is corruption. And then now we have a new problem, impunity. Someone does something wrong, but they again cover it up. You have maybe stolen money from the public. When someone who knows about it begins to talk about it, what do? They keep the person and kill the person, so that no one will talk about it. So impunity, covering up for our crimes. You have a vehicle that is not very correct, or you are selling drugs, so that you cannot be arrested, you bribe a lot of policemen, so that that is not done with. You have a lawyer who is following the case, you do away with the lawyer. That is impunity. So, start long way covers those four problems. And I think you people should understand those. Because if they ask you a problem about poor governance, if they ask you that Africa has poor governance, you should talk about those problems. And you should relate to different countries, like corruption in Nigeria, corruption in Gambia, corruption in Nigeria, in which other country? Kenya. And which other country did they give us in the story? Zimbabwe. They give us India, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Nigeria. Yeah, so you must remember those. Now, so you realize that that was the first reason as to why we had to have the four. The reason number two, yes.
They were there because they believed that Alpha would solve those problems financially.
Yeah, remember, Third Longway made them believe that part Alpha is the will to change, right? Yes. Making people to have that will to change. And therefore, all these four people have the will to change. And therefore, they are using part Alpha and not way Omega. Reason number three? Yes. What has Kimani suffered? One person suffered in the hands of the state? Yes. Loss of daughter, because that accident would actually have been avoided if the state paid him well, and if the state had also brought what? When 999 is down, what was supposed to be called so as to come and ambulance? Not just an ambulance, what was to remove that, whatever was crashing that minibus? What normally removes that? You make it tough to teach. Alright, so that was one problem, loss of the daughter. And then problem number 2. Demotion from full professor to, yeah, because actually it's out of that case. And the state was afraid of relationship between state and university. What other problem did he suffer? Yes.
Uses of her wife.
Yeah, losing the wife, Asia. Who took the wife? Yes. An MP. Already when you know MP, that is a nation. You are talking about political leadership. Yeah, so those are some of the losses, but also another loss is poor salary. He complained about it when he was taking ice cream with Tuni. He also complained of high taxes. He also complained of what other thing? High taxes coming from the foods in Parliament, right? Yes. Then insecurity. The fact that you have to hire your own private security. It makes now as we see the life of politicians as better than the life of lecturers and go away from him. What losses did Melusi suffer? Yes. Ziliza was murdered under the which group? Urahundi, which was started by Bomba, the president. Which other problem did he suffer? Yes. His business was shut down by the same government. Bomba ordered which group? Brabatina to clear the slums in the name of doing away with diseases, only to bring crime and poverty. And therefore, Melusi had a very poor life. Any other suffering that he had? Having fought close to Smith, what suffering did he undergo? What suffering? The major problem he faced in politics, what was that? Hey, you forgot. Yes? What did the bomber do to him when he realized that he was not from his tribe? Yes? What did he do? When you look at page 88, and it's not just 88, but the fact that page 87 and partly 88 at the top. What did Melusi suffer? Suppose they may bring that question to you, you were here. What would you say? Yes. Yeah, when they realized that he was not an rebellion, they decided that he was an enemy or an opponent to the bomber, therefore they removed him from office and he became an unpolitician. So he had to come up with his own party, and again he faced another injustice because his party scored 0. He did not win in the election process because the rest of them never stood with him. So he faces those 4 injustices. What injustice does Chamaka Chineke experience? Chamaka Chineke. Yes. He was banned from preaching in the church inside Africa, just after he had a miraculous escape from an accident. Is there another injustice that he faced? Yes, apart from being banned, there's none. Really, after that, preaching on the riot. Yes. He was dead for 2 weeks in a rat. Is it rat or fleas infested? Yes? Rat infested cell, sharing with the rest of the prisoners. So there are those 2 injustices that Chineke Chamaka experiences. What about Tahir? Tahir, what injustice did Libya offer to him? Yes.
His dream was shattered.
His dream of working in a weapon company was shattered when his own president decided to do what? To close the feast of Allah. What else did he face? The injustice that he thinks he faced? Yes. Does that one come as nation? No. Maybe it's an injustice to his life, but not because of the state. For the state, he feels like patriotism was sacrificed. He was so patriotic to his nation and ready to work for it, and wanted policies whereby Libya would only honor Africans and not the fact of worshipping Americans. But after the bombing, Libya began to worship America and gave compensation. Something he felt was not right. And that is why he wanted that Libya should reclaim its powers and have its own voice so that no one should bully them around. Yeah, so you should be aware of all that. So, is there another reason away from that? The 4th reason why they should be the ones to be picked, the 4. Yes. There was a new, maybe you can pick a new person who has not spoken, yes?
Finally, you are here because you want to address each of the above by making your head of state adopt an alpha, not for your megas.
Yeah, so remember, they are supposed to address before their heads of state. And I don't know why it is particularly 4 countries that were picked. Kenya, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and India. Why? They have not picked other countries because if there are 40, why did we not have a representation from Gambia? Why didn't we have Uganda, Tanzania, and these other nations? Why do you think that is the case? Yeah.
Because the 4 visitors came from the countries.
Why did they pick 4 visitors from those 4 nations and not these other nations?
Maybe because they are the most corrupt.
By the way, Nigeria is on the listed high, Kenya is listed high. Zimbabwe, remember, it had a dictatorial leader. Mugabe was very dictatorial that time. Then, when you look at Kenya, of course, having an alliance with America, it is known a lot, but then it is not doing very well economically. Nigeria is well known in conflicts. We've seen a lot of conflicts. In fact, last year, Boko Haram and there is another group that were invading and killing a lot of people. They were also taking away students from schools and disappearing with them. A lot of death has happened. But I wonder, even Sudan has had its killed. Even up to now, last year again, they were having fights. Somali also, the southern part of Somalia up to now, even internet is not there. And there has been a war targeting some part of the group until they have their own weapons, soldiers, they have recruited and trained on their own. When you come to Ethiopia also, it has faced a lot of problems. You saw over the holiday Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, you saw what happened? What happened? What happened? Someone tell us.
kichwa peke yake wewe angalia. Kama ndani kuna.
Because the only stable country we have is Burkina Faso and this one. Yeah, Burkina Faso and this one. Stable countries in the world, in Africa currently. Economically, that is. Eh? You know the Singapore, they are talking about Singapore as a country, it is equal to Nairobi alone. So, mtu akikwambia utoke Kenya uende Singapore, anajaribu kuambia nini? Yaani, unatoka kama Kenya uende Singapore, yenye inatoshana na Nairobi. Singapore is just like Nairobi, a very small place. So even the population itself, how can we fit in such a country which is so small? If all of us Kenyans will move. I think we should say China or something. But now Singapore is a very small country. Anyway, you should find out these things because if your views are political, you don't want to know these things really, like what is happening. So, we have known the reason why these people must be with that. And then they are also informed that part alpha is not on that agenda, but through the trick, they will be able to fit it in. Do you know what the trick is? What is the trick? What was the trick? The trick was something that the president of Zambia had decided it will happen. To avoid making the whole group ugly, they were going to create a consensus in which maybe they don't have losing at all, but all people it feels like they have won. And winning in this situation will be bringing something that was not maybe there, like alpha. And they will be assisted somehow, maybe through technology to get to that. So the meeting ends as the four are told to go find what they saw during the presidential meeting. Yeah. So tomorrow we go. We need to finish this. So tomorrow we're going to chapter 12. We read it and also one day. I hope your notes are up to date. Yes? Yes.
Sorry.